Hey, what's up everyone? Tim here from Everyday Tactical Vids, and today we're going to be doing a head-to-head video. We're going to be comparing the TH10 V2 from Thrunite, which is on the right, and we're going to be putting it up against the Rofis R3. So I've already looked at the TH10 V2 from Thrunite. I've got an individual video on just that light, but I always appreciate when they're willing to send me another light to basically do a head-to-head and put their light up against somebody else. So the thing that stood out to me about these two lights is that they both are usable as both an EDC light and also as a headlamp as well. They're not dedicated to one or the other, so I thought that'd be kind of cool to test them and see how they compare. So what we'll do is we'll look at the Thrunite, give you the details. We'll look at the Rofis, give you the details on that one. We'll talk about some of the initial thoughts, and then we'll take them out to the night and use them, and then we'll give you some final thoughts after we've tested them out a bit. Let's talk about the Thrunite first. Your LED is a Cree XHP35 high with a lifespan of 20 plus years of runtime. It runs off an 18650 battery, which is included, which is nice. It does have a smooth reflector, so this thing is made for throwing. In my video, I thought it had actually quite good flood, but it's definitely built to be more of a thrower than it is to be a floodlight. Let me talk through the different outputs. You have a Firefly, which is 1 lumen. That's going to run for 40 days. Low, 37 lumens. That's going to run for 57 hours. Your medium low, which is 138 lumens. That's going to run for 13 hours. Your medium, which is 350 lumens, that's for 4 hours, and your high, which is 1,100 lumens, that's for 90 minutes. Your turbo is going to be 2,100 lumens, and then drop down to 753 lumens. That 2,100 is only going to be for 2 minutes, and then your 753 is going to be for 73 minutes. So this is IPX8 rated. It's drop resistant to 1.5 meters. One thing I want to mention is that whenever it comes to testing of a headlamp and run times and lumen output and stuff, that's always done in a controlled environment. So that's, when they've done the testing in their controlled environment, here are your results. So just keep that in mind as you, if you use this light after the battery slightly charged, fully charged, it's freezing cold outside, it might interact differently than if it's, kind of a nice even temperature. So just keep that in mind. So this, like I said, is it does come with an 18650 battery. It is rechargeable. There's your USB or your micro USB, mini USB input right there. See if I can get the light to shine on there. There we go. It does come with the small recharging cord. It also comes with the clip there. So basically you're going to, you can take the clip on and off if you want to set it up as a headlamp, and I'll show you that in a second. And you can put the clip on the top or the bottom and the top as well. Just twist the end cap there to take the battery out. And it does not have a magnetic base, just so you're aware of that. So for some people, it's weird for them to use an EDC light like this as opposed to like this, but that's just something you have to get used to. So basically you're gonna click it to turn it on, click it to turn it off. If you hold it down, it's gonna come on at your Firefly, and then hold it down, it'll scroll up through the different settings. And then it's gonna go to SOS, which it does have an SOS as well. That's 630 lumens for 285 minutes. Double click. It's going to go to turbo. So when you are charging it, as it's charging, this is going to be glowing red. When it's fully charged, it will be blue. And if it's flashing purple, it means that there's something going on as far as the charging process. Maybe the cord isn't properly attached or something like that. So there's a quick look at the Thrunite TH10 V2. Let me set it up as the headlamp now. So here it is set up as the headlamp. Now you do get an extra mounting section right here, this rubberized section. So if this one breaks, you have a backup. Fully adjustable, the strap, you can set it up for different size heads. No battery on the back, obviously, because the battery is right there in the lamp. Now, for some people, they're not going to like an 18650 battery, just the weight of that for a headlamp. For me, it's fine, and also, 2100, yes, it runs at 2100, but let's say up closer to 1000, 1100 lumens for 90 minutes. To get that kind of output, I'm willing to put up with a little bit of extra weight. And then drop down even medium, 350 lumens for 4 hours. Some people don't like an 18650 battery for headlamps. Some people do. I'm definitely somebody who falls into that's a fine battery for me. Overall, it's probably one of my preferred battery types, I would say. And if you have this battery and then a backup somewhere in your pack, you got a lot of burn time for a battery. All right, so here's the Rofis or Rofis, and we have a bunch of different settings here. So your moonlight setting is 0.25 lumens. That's going to run for 63 days. Your low is 20 lumens. That's going to run for 83 hours. Your medium, they call it middle, but medium is going to be 230 lumens. That's going to run for 10.5 hours. Your high is 560 lumens. That's going to run for 206 minutes. And then your turbo is going to run for 1,250 lumens. That's going to go for 1 minute, and then drop down to 560 lumens. That's for 199 minutes. So you definitely have a difference as far as your outputs. I mean, your high is going to be 1250 as opposed to over 2000. And as far as your longer burn time, you're looking at 560 for this one as opposed to 1100 for your Thrunite. So definitely a difference there. A couple things to note here is that this one does have a magnetic base. You can see the clip as well. That's your switch to turn it on and to turn it off. And the thing that makes this one unique is that, let's see if I can do this here. This one, the angle of the head of the light switches just by shifting it. So it's not always the right angle with you clicking on top here. You can have kind of a standard style flashlight like this, and then when you put it into the headlamp setup, it's going to be like that. The other thing here is you can see on top that kind of goldish section there, that golden circle. This is going to be to attach the proprietary charging cord. So it's a standard USB on the far end that you're going to plug into the wall of your computer, but this end is you got to basically, it's magnetic, so it clicks right on there nicely. But it is different. You don't just have you can't take a generic micro USB and use it. You have to use the one that actually comes with it. So here's what the other end of the charging cord looks like, and then just to show you, that's how it's going to attach. And then, like I said, just a standard USB on this end. And as far as charging it, when there's a red light coming out, and that light is going to come out from this section right here, which is your power button. When there's red coming out from that, it means charging. When it's green and that stays on, it means that the charging is complete. When it's red and green blinking alternatively, it means there's something incorrect with the battery installation, or there's no battery in the light. So again, similar between those two. Definitely much more output on the Thrunite than on this one. This one does give you the option to have multiple angles of the head of the light. Here's what it looks like set up as a headlamp. Again, very similar to the Thrunite. There's actually not a whole lot that's different between the two. The quality of the attachment point, besides the fact that that's orange, it's also rubberized. You don't get a full extra one like you do with the Thrunite. The actual strap that goes over the top of your head, the one that goes around, even the buckle there, the adjustment slide, all pretty much a match for the Thrunite and this one. So it's kind of a break even, I would say, as far as the headlamp feature between the two lights. Here's a couple initial thoughts, then we'll head out into the night and compare these two lights. So your price point for the Thrunite is going to be right at about 60 bucks, and your price point for the Rofis R3 is going to be about 68 bucks, give or take. So a little bit more for the other one, for the second one, but not a huge difference between those two. Now, when it comes to actual output, you're looking at 21 versus 1250 as far as the turbo setting. But if something's going to run for anywhere between 2, I would say probably to 7 minutes, maybe 6 minutes, I'm not going to really count that. I'm going to look and say, okay, what's the drop down level look like, or what does the whole next step down look like? So realistically, we're looking at a high of 560 for the Rofis, 205 minutes, and then a high of 1100 for 99 minutes for the Thrunite. So again, you're looking at 560 for about 200, 1100 for about an hour and a half. So, I mean, there's definitely a difference there. If you're saying, I don't mind the 560, I don't need the 1100, you're definitely getting more burn time out of the Rofis. But, that's just something to keep in mind between the two. I do like the pocket clip on the Rofis more. It's just a deeper pocket clip. I do like the fact on the Thrunite that you can run it two different ways. You can run it, with the bezel up, or the head of the light up, or with the head of light down. I was a little concerned when I first got the Rofis that the head, as I moved it, it would just kind of floppy. It would, like, if you bumped it a little bit, it would move. It is locked in there pretty tight, so it does take a little bit of English to get it to move. And you can go at any angle. It doesn't have to be the right angle and then straight on. You can go at 45 degrees. You can set it up at whatever angle you want. I do think a big win of the Rofis is that it has a magnetic base, because then that allows you to tack it on something and then adjust the head of the light so that you can get the light where you want it. That would be a win if Thrunite would do that with theirs. I'm not totally sure why they didn't, because there's nothing going on at the base of the light that you couldn't include that. It's not going to interfere, but that's the decision that they made there. Okay, we are outside in the dark now. My minivan is about 40 feet away, and we're going to test the Thrunite first. So the outputs are going to be 137 and then 138. So 1 lumen, 37 lumens, and then 138 lumens. So 1 lumen shining at the van, you can't really see a whole lot. I will show you that it's on here though, just so you can see. Let's go up to 37 lumens. And then 138. So those are your first 3 settings. Let's go up to medium here. This is 350. So there's 350. And now up to 1100 here. So there is 1100. And that's a ton of light. And it's pretty bright shining back at the camera. But I can tell you it's, yeah, I mean, it's just a lot of light, a lot of output. Again, you're getting about an hour and a half with this setting. Let's go up to the turbo, which is 2100. So actually I had to readjust my camera just because it was so bright there, reflecting back so much. And let's, we'll give you the SOS here as well. Okay, we got the Rofis now. We've got it on at 0.25 just to show you that that does actually work. We're going to go up to 20 lumens, then 230. So you can see the van at 20. So there's 20 lumens. Let's go up to 230 here. I would say my initial thought looking at the output here is it's almost got kind of an incandescent tinge to it. It's definitely not a cool white or maybe even a neutral white, but it's just got a little bit of a yellow tinge to it. Let's go up to the 560, which is your high. Now we'll go to the 1250. Yeah, even at 1250, I still feel like there's a little bit of a tinge to it, a little bit of a yellowish tinge to it. Now this also has a strobe and an SOS, so we're going to triple click, it's going to go to strobe, and then I'll click again, it'll go to SOS, so strobe warning here. Alright, so you saw the lights individually now. Now we're going to do a little head-to-head here. So we'll put both the lights on at their firefly or lowest setting. And there's honestly, let me show you. Shining it at my hand here. Now shining the Rofis at my hand here. I mean, they're fireflies. Both firefly settings are fine. Not a whole lot to write home about. I mean, you can definitely walk around the house with either one of those at night, and you'll be fine. I can tell you, looking at the fence in front of me, I mean, you can definitely see the difference between the Thrunite being brighter than the Rofis at the firefly level. But that's, you know, if there was a huge difference, I still probably wouldn't care that much, just because it's firefly and I don't use that very much. All right, we'll go up to the next setting here. So this is 20 for the Rofis and 37 for the Thrunite. So here's the Rofis. You can barely pick it up on camera. Here's the Thrunite. So 37 is your low setting, and that's definitely, you can definitely see more. And just side by side there, Thrunite over here, and the Rofis over there. That's still hard to pick up on camera. Okay, we're going to skip medium low for the Thrunite. Just go right to medium, which is 350 over here. And then the Rofis is 230 over here. Yeah, I mean, even on camera, you can pick up some of that little bit of that yellowish tinge there. It's kind of interesting. Again, side by side. Thrunite over here. Rofis 350, 230. Okay, we're up to high now. This is 1100 for the Thrunite and 560 for the Rofis. Now we'll go to the turbo setting. So that's 2100 for the Thrunite and 1250 for the Rofis. Here's 2100 for the Thrunite, 1250 for the Rofis. Thrunite at the 2100 is definitely, I can feel the heat here as compared to the Rofis at 1250. It's a little bit warm, but not terribly warm. Okay, last thing real quick. I've got this at 1100. This is the Thrunite. If I shine it right at the gate, I can see pretty comfortably over to the edge of the fence there, and then almost to that tree over here. With the Rofis at the 1250, shine it at the gate, I can see all the way over. I've got a raft on top of the bulkhead there. I can see all the way that way. And here I can see all the way over. Let's see if I can turn the, yeah, to that little tree there. So just a much more of a flood. Well, I don't know much more, but I would say probably 15 feet on either side. A little bit, 15 feet further for the Rofis on either side compared to the Thrunite. Let's wrap up here comparing the R3 and the TH10 V2. So as far as the clip, the R3 is going to win. The Thrunite clip is not bad, but I just like how deep the R3 goes. As far as being a floodlight, the R3 also wins on that. The Thrunite is definitely winning on being a thrower. This thing has a good flood, but this thing floods more. If you want to get between these two, floodlight versus a thrower, get this one for throwing, get this one to be your floodlight. As far as the color of the light coming out of the actual flashlight, the Thrunite is just better. Like I said, this one has a little bit of like a little bit of a yellowish tinge, so something to be aware of. The other thing I think the Thrunite wins on between these two is the range of output. So it's just got a large range, a bunch of different outputs, and while this one's decent, this one's definitely better, I think. As far as batteries, it's pretty much a break even because I'm going to use an 18650 with this light. But the R3 does come out on top for that because it can also use CR123s as well, so a slight advantage there. As far as what I'm calling the EDC ability, meaning, you know, are they comfortable as an EDC light? They're a break even on that, and as far as using them as headlamps, I think it's a break even for that as well. They both function well in both of those roles. The Thrunite is drop resistant to 1.5 meters versus 1. Not a huge difference there, but just want to let you know about that. And the last thing I'll say is as far as chargeability, I think the Thrunite wins on that just because it takes that micro USB to a standard USB end versus this one. It's cool with the magnetic thing, but it is proprietary, and that makes me a little concerned. If you lose that particular cord, then you can't charge it. So yeah, this one wins on chargeability. When it comes to having a magnetic base, the R3 wins because it has one and the Thrunite does not. I'd love to see them do that on their V3 of the TH10, but that's a win. So you can tack that on there and then you can adjust the head of the lamp to a variety of different angles. So I really like a magnetic base. Thrunite, do that in the future on the TH10 V3. That would be a major win in my mind. So there you go. There's pluses and minuses for the different lights, and I'd love to hear your feedback in the comments. Which one of these wins for you and why? For me, I've EDC'd this one a bit. I want to EDC this one a bit more, and then I'll report in on, you know, maybe YouTube, other social media outlets to let you know how the two longer term, you know, how they face up head to head. Both good lights, different features. You got to pick which ones are better for you. I really like the rotating head there. My one concern is just long term. Will it start to get kind of floppy and it won't lock in nicely or stay in position nicely? But we'll see in the future. I'll let you know about that one. And the TH10 V2 has been a good light so far, and I think it will continue to be a good light. So yeah, there's my thoughts on these two lights. Thanks as always for watching the videos here on YouTube. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to Everyday Tactical Vids. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, check us out on Instagram, Tumblr, and Vero as well. More videos coming soon. Take care.